What's going on guys, Mira here, back again with another Genshin Impact video. Today I want to talk a little bit more about Hutao, the new 5-star character that's basically the talk of the town right now. She's not been officially announced by MiHoYo as of right now, but there's tons of evidence suggesting her drop during update 1.3, which is the current patch, and I just want to briefly go through her skills, how to prepare artifacts and weapons for her, as well as 2 different team compositions that I personally believe will work for her. Of course, I will be dropping an in-depth video on her skills once she's been officially announced, so if you don't want to miss that, do make sure you stay subscribed to the channel. Now before we continue, I just want to say that as of right now, nothing is confirmed for her, so do take these tips with a pinch of salt, but we do have some nice information on her. So the first thing that I kind of want to mention is the Ascension Materials, and the first thing that she needs is the Silk Flower, and this is available at the bottom of Wangshu Inn, so if you don't have it right now, I suggest you start collecting these if you are interested in pulling for Hutao. Also, she is rumored to require the Juvenile Jade, which is the drop from the new boss, Primordial Bishop, as well as the Agnitis Agate Chunk. She also needs the Whopper Flower Nectar for her Ascension, so do make sure you are stocked up on these as well. The next thing that I kind of want to go through is her kit. Her Elemental skill consumes 30% of her current HP and increases her damage dealt by a certain amount of her max HP, going up to around 5.3% scaling at level 7 talent, and also converts her damage to pyro damage. On top of that, her charged attacks apply the Blood Blossom effect, which causes enemies to take pyro damage over time. Now, I will not go through the specifics in this video because things might still change at this point, but her talent also allows her to give all party members, excluding herself, additional crit rate after this skill ends. Moving on to her Elemental Burst, she deals pyro damage in a large AoE, and she also regenerates HP when she hits an enemy. And when her HP is equaled or below 50%, this skill's damage and healing will be increased. Next, I'd like to get into the artifacts for Hutao, and I am using the 4-piece Crimson Witch of Flames, but I would just want to apologize for using these artifacts on Razor right now. It is just my way of organizing my artifacts for Hutao, and I promise when she drops, I will be shifting all these artifacts to her. But the 4-piece Crimson Witch set works really well, and the 2-piece effect increases her pyro damage bonus by 15%, and the 4-piece increases overloaded damage by 40%, which is really crucial as we get into the team composition in a bit. It also increases vaporize and melt damage by 15%, and using elemental skill increases the 2-piece set bonus, which is the pyro damage bonus, by a 50% of its starting value for 10 seconds, and is just really perfect on Hutao having this set because it just gives her so much extra damage on her elemental skill, which converts her damage to pyro damage. Next, I want to get into the details of the artifacts themselves. So across all the artifacts, what you want to look for in the substats is going to be crit rate, crit damage, HP percent, HP attack, and attack percent. And of course, for the flower and feather, the main stat will be locked, but for the timepiece, what you want to have is HP percent, and of course if you have attack percent that will also work, but I personally prefer HP percent for the scaling of her HP. And next we get into the goblet, and for the goblet you want pyro damage bonus, that is pretty standard of a DPS character. And lastly, for the circlet, I personally prefer crit rate, and that is because her main stat is going to be crit damage, and she will not be getting a lot of crit rate, so you really want to focus on getting her crit rate up to par. So for me, I am going to be using a crit rate circlet, but if you have nice crit rate on your subsets for the other artifacts, you can also use the crit damage main stat for the circlet as well. Now with all these skills in mind, she does seem to me like a main DPS that is able to provide support for other characters in her party, which is extremely good. And I think that she will go well with a lot of characters. But before we go through her team composition, I just want to go through her weapons real quick. So for the next banner, we are getting the Staff of Homa, and that is basically the best weapon for her. It gives her 20% HP, which scales nicely with her skills, and also it gives a 1.2% HP scaling on her attacks, which is going to further increase her damage. Now, if you are looking for 4-star weapons, I do recommend the Lithic Spear, which is going to be the new 4-star weapon that will be dropping together with the Staff of Homa in the next weapon banner. But if you don't have the Primogems to pull for the weapon banner, the Deathmatch is also a really good weapon for her. Moving on to team composition, there are a lot of characters that I believe Hutao will work well with, which I'll cover in the next few minutes. But as I've said at the start of the video, I have prepared two different teams that I believe will work well, and they both play to Hutao's strengths, although they consist of a few different characters. So the first team I want to go through will consist of Albedo, Zhongli, and Bennett, and Diluc is there just as a replacement for Hutao because of course right now we don't have Hutao. And this team kind of plays around the strength of the Geo Resonance, which is really strong right now, and also the Pyro Resonance to amplify her damage. And I just want to go through this team real quick. Albedo is there to, of course, provide support DPS while he's offline. He just deals so much damage when he's not on the field, and is just an amazing support DPS in general. Of course, you pair him off with Zhongli, and there will be even more damage on the field. And Zhongli is there kind of for the number one consistent damage that he is able to deal because of the buff in 1.3, and also his Jade Shield, which serves two purpose. So the first use of his Jade Shield is of course to shred the resistance, allowing Hutao to deal even more damage, but also it protects Hutao from external damage, which is really crucial because you want to keep Hutao at that borderline of 50% HP to deal that enhanced damage on her Q. Of course, the last unit will be Bennett, and I think Bennett is the core of Hutao's team comp and is the best partner for Hutao. The reason is that not only does he amplify Hutao's damage with his Q, but also the Q heals her, but not too much, and it caps her at 70% HP, which is insane because with her E, dealing 30% current HP, you will be really close to that 50% HP mark, which is really crucial when dealing that enhanced damage with her Q. Moving on to the next team composition, we have Hutao, Tartaglia, Fischl, and Bennett. And Bennett is here for the exact same reason as the previous team, to provide Pyro Resonance, amplification on the damage, and also healing to that sweet 70% HP that we need on Hutao. And for Fischl, she kind of takes the place of Albedo, being able to deal offline damage, but the difference that she makes is that she deals electro damage with her Oz, and it is also very consistent. Because of the 4-piece Crimson Witch set that we are using on Hutao, she will be getting a boost to overload damage, being able to deal 40% extra damage on overload procs. And with Oz dealing consistent electro damage, Hutao will be able to deal that extra 40% damage for basically free, and Fischl is just a really good source of offline damage as well. Lastly, for Child is in here as a second main DPS and also to take advantage of Hutao's elemental skill when it is down. When Hutao's elemental skill is down, she provides a crit rate buff to all the other party members in her team with the exception of herself. And Child is a character that scales really well with crit rate, and he's in here to chain that Riptide debuff and also to cause vaporized damage, which will be activatable on both Bennett and also on Hutao. And with Hutao, you will be getting that damage over time, which will be able to help Tartaglia chain more vaporized damage. So yeah, that was my brief run through on Hutao's weapons, artifacts, and team composition. And there are just so many things that is unique about all these team compositions that I want to cover, but I just don't have the time to go through all of them right now on this video. If you have any more questions, do feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I highly also recommend joining me on my stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday if you have any further questions regarding Hutao. Personally, I am extremely excited for her release, and I can't wait to pull for her. So if you do want to see me pull for her, do make sure you are subscribed and also hit the bell button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.